Have you ever had someone say, just look it up when you need an answer? You probably have. Today, it's my job to say to you that there are answers to find. How are you going to find them? To that I say, just look it up. Of course, it is the year 2020. Looking it up means something a lot different than it used to. These days, you can simply Google just about any answer, right? Sorry, these aren't those sorts of questions. Google will have to wait for another time. You're still going to have to search for your answers, but we're going to do it a different way. This is to give your brain a nice workout. Let's keep it strong, shall we? Today's questions have to do with the story we read last week, The Flight of Icarus. I'm going to need you to read the whole entire story again and memorize it in order to answer today's questions. What are you waiting for? Oh, that's right. We're not going to do that. We're looking it up, remember? Here's a page that should be familiar to you. It's the first page from our reading of The Flight of Icarus. Do you see something here that could help you find answers if I asked you a question about it? Look closely. Look a little more closely. Do you see it yet? Even closer. Are you noticing something besides words yet? Really close now. You should be able to see a number here. The number 10. This is called a line number. Each line in the story has a number to help you find your way around. You'll notice not every line has a number written next to it, so you use the ones you see, in this case 10, to find your way around. What are all the line numbers in this example? Counting from 10, we see 11, 12, 13, and 14. So if I said, find line 10, that would be easy. If I said to find your answers on line 14, that would also be easy. Just use the numbers you see. Icarus isn't the only story that has line numbers. Everything we read in our textbook has them to help you. Here's part of the text from Rogue Wave. You'll notice it also has line numbers. You can see the number 40 right here. If I said you need to start reading from line 37, you would simply jump up 3 lines. If I were to say read to line 43, you would read each line until you got to 43, using line 40 as a guide. The last word you would read is marveled. Here's another example from Big Things Come in Small Packages. Here we can see our passage is in and around line 90. If I were to say read from Tucker figured to sinking, that might be a bit awkward and would probably take longer to find than we really need. It would be far easier for me to tell which lines to read. To do that, again, we would use our number as a guide. The whole passage stretches from 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. I could simply say, read from lines 89 to 96, and you would know just what to do. These line numbers stretch all the way to the end of our stories. Here is the ending from The Flight of Icarus. So, how many lines does this story have? I'll give you 10 seconds to find out. Use what you know. You can see that this story has 95 lines. So if I said, you can find your answer between lines 1 and 95, I'd be telling you to check the whole story. But don't worry, we'll be using a moderate amount of lines. One more exercise before I set you off on your own. Here's a pretty large section from The Flight of Icarus. Instead of saying, I need you to read part of this page, let's be more efficient. I would be more likely to say, read from lines 60 to 64. To check your understanding of line numbers, can you tell me what the final word you would be reading is? I'll give you 10 seconds. Simple, wasn't it? 61, 62, 63, 64. There's our line. So the word you found was clouds. Google and the internet can do a lot of things for you, but they can't count lines for you. Getting better at using this feature of our textbook will help you turn your brain into its own type of search engine. In this case, your brain will be searching for answers in The Flight of Icarus. You won't need to read or memorize the whole story because now you're equipped with one of the most important features of our textbook, the line numbers. Head on over to Google Classroom and open today's assignment called The Flight of Icarus. Analyze the text 1 and have a go. But don't do it frantically. Keep a moderate pace and spare yourself the anxiety.